Egypt lies at the northeast corner of the continent of Africa. Its shape is roughly that of a square, covering an area of over 386,000 miles. This is nearly twice the size of France, or 4 times the size of Great Britain. Egypt is bordered by the Mediterranean Sea to the north and Libya to the west. To its south is Sudan. Israel and the Red Sea lie east of Egypt. The Sinai Peninsula, the only part of Egypt which is located in Asia, is separated from the rest of the country by the Suez Canal, a man-made canal stretching nearly 100 miles, connecting the Mediterranean and Red Seas. Egypt's land contains 3 principal geographical areas: the eastern and western deserts, and the Nile Valley. Of all of Egypt's land, 96% is desert. Egypt's entire southern region makes up part of the vast North African desert, the Sahara. Both the eastern and western deserts of Egypt are but a small part of the Great Sahara Desert, an area of more than 3,500,000 miles. No other desert comes close to its vastness, or is even half the size of the Sahara. Virtually nothing grows here in the desert. This is a place which is almost uninhabitable, without food, water, or shade. Searing winds, and temperatures soaring to 113 degrees Fahrenheit. The Eastern Desert, often called the Arabian Desert, stretches from the plateau extending from the Nile Valley to the Sinai, an area of barren rock. Steep rock valleys called wadis, formed originally by streams which have now dried up, intersect nearly all of the Arabian Desert. The Western or Libyan Desert covers more than 2/3 of Egypt. It extends from the Nile Valley to the borders of Libya, and from the Mediterranean coast all the way south to the Sudan. The Libyan Desert is known for its deep depressions, like the Qattara Depression, which is more than 320 feet below sea level, always burning hot. Separating the western and eastern deserts is Egypt's life source, the Nile River. Without it, all of Egypt would be desert. The longest river in the world, the Nile stretches over 4,100 miles from south to north. The southernmost source of the Nile at the Luvranza River in Burundi is called the White Nile. At Khartoum in the Sudan, the Blue Nile, which streams from Lake Tana in Ethiopia, merges with the White Nile to form the Nile proper. The Blue Nile and the White Nile surge together as one mighty current into the Mediterranean Sea. Since only 3.5% of Egypt's total land area is fertile enough to cultivate or inhabit, almost the entire population of Egypt, over 61 million people, live near the River Nile. The strip of fertile land bordering the River Nile makes up the 3rd geographical region, the Nile Valley. The rich land along this life-giving water varies in width from a mere few hundred yards in southern Egypt to 14 miles near the river's delta. Agriculture, which employs about 1/3 of Egypt's population, depends on the Nile for its fertility. The most fertile region of Egypt is called the Nile Delta, a triangular-shaped area off the Mediterranean Sea. Here, the Nile divides up into branches, which spread out nearly 150 miles along the sea coast. Virtually anything will grow here in the delta's fine silt-like soil. Corn, rice, wheat, tomatoes, watermelon, potatoes, onions, and dates are just some of the produce grown here. 3/4 of Egypt's population live in some 4,000 villages and towns scattered in the delta and up the length of the Nile Valley. Most of them are directly or indirectly connected with agricultural production. According to archaeologists, the area beside the Nile was occupied at least 4,000 years before the birth of Christ. These first settlers, believed to have come from other regions of North Africa and Western Asia, lived in mud huts along the Nile, and tended livestock, farmed, fished, and traded. The Egyptian race is a mixture of these various races descended from the ancient Egyptians, Berbers, Sub-Saharan Africans, Arabs, Greeks, and Turks.